but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thanks to beloved Baba, Jai Baba to all of you. Today's subject is Baba's message on my dear workers. So Soumya would be reading that paragraph by paragraph, and I will try to maybe analyze, interpret it as best as I can. Go ahead.
In spite of telling you very often that I will not give you any more messages or discourses, I find myself doing just this thing, which is what I do not want to do. This is because most of you do things which I do not like you're doing. I had to give you a message yesterday because you expected one. And the theme of the message was on your being my children because despite much talk about a Baba family, there is more a semblance than a reality of kinship among you who are the children of one father. True children of one father do not greet one another with smiles and embraces and at the same time harbor grudges and ill feeling, but they have an active concern in their hearts for the well being of one another and make sacrifices for that well being.
All right. See, first of all, we need to understand the scenario when this meeting was given, when this message was given. It was given on the 3rd, which was also happened to be a Saturday. Saturday, the 3rd of November 1962, in the East-West gathering, which was at Guru Prasad. Now, in a gathering like this, where all from the West, all from the East have come, earlier Baba gave the message, my dear children, which we read yesterday. And the next day, which is the 3rd of November, Baba gives this message, my dear workers. If you really look at this message, it seems, at least to me, that Baba at that point in time was not happy in the way his work was being conducted. Now imagine Baba started his, you can say, ministry as the avatar sometime around 1922. And this is 1962, which means 40 years after he already established himself as the avatar. And just about 6 years and 2 months before he dropped this physical body in one of this very prominent, very important Sahwas program, the East-West gathering. So that is the importance of this message. This message was said out loud in English, in Marathi, and in Telugu. I am informed that even booklets were published in English, Marathi, and Telugu. And some of you older ones, maybe Mayor Nori or Mayor Chand or Mayor Krupa or anybody who were at that time with Baba, they would be having that literature. What I'm trying to emphasize is the importance of this message for all of us. My my understanding is that yesterday, that means 2nd of November, he treated us like children. So Baba talked about children playing with toys, and now you have grown up. So now from being children, we have become workers. And Baba is actually, you can say, upbraiding, or he is actually, taking a stick in the hand and saying that he is not happy in the way the work is being done. My take on this is it is not only for people who were at that time. I always maintain that whatever messages Baba gave out, in my understanding, all this is my understanding, let me tell you, my interpretation can be graded into three different compartments. One is when he talks about him being the avatar of the age, the highest of the high. There are messages where Baba talks about himself being the highest of the high, the avatar of the age, God in human form, etc. That is a section of his messages which talks about his stature, his authority in our time as the King of Kings, as the avatar of the age. The second kshetra, the second compartment of the messages are specific messages which Baba gives to specific persons. And things that come to my mind, for example, it seems he had asked Arnavas Dada Chanji to light a lamp in her house all the time, keep it burning for 24 hours. Like he had told our erstwhile secretary, Kishore Mistry, to take multivitamin tablets, every day. Like you can say he had told Rayoman Dada Chanji to have one egg every day. So these are specific instructions to specific people. Like he told one of the persons from Andhra to sleep, to put the God speaks under the pillow and sleep with that. That was specific. It doesn't mean that all should sleep with God speaks. This is my take again, I'm saying. And then there are messages. This is the second category. And the third category is his messages are for everybody and forever. And I feel that this message, my dear workers, comes in that category. So it is universally applicable and for all times, eternally applicable. Again, I also feel that when Baba talks about workers, it may not necessarily mean working for Baba. Of course, here Baba talks about working for him, but it could mean any work done with honesty, with a pure intent, in a selfless mode, according to me, is God's work, is Baba's work. So it is applicable to each one of us who are working towards a certain goal, and how one should be within while we are working without. That means outside. So here the title of this is My Dear Workers. When the Lord of the universe is calling out my, what does it mean? It means a lot. It means he is owning us. He is establishing his ownership on us. He is saying my. He's not saying dear workers. He's saying my. When Baba talks dear, again it's a word which is endearing, which is loving, which is not ordinary. He feels that each one of us is dear to him and each one of us belongs to him. My dear workers. And I have already given my so-called interpretation on who is a worker. Anybody who does anything as, you can say, for the benefit of others, in a selfless way, where he is actually annihilating his ego when he's doing some work. To me, that is a real worker. Now let us read. In spite of telling you very often that I will not give you any more messages or discourses, I find myself doing just that, which is what I do not want to do. And this is because most of you do things which I do not like you doing. The Father of creation is very open, very blunt in telling us, I do not like you doing what you are doing. In other words, here, he is compelled to give this message. He has been tolerating us so much, that out of compulsion, because of our behavior, our attitude, our modus operandi of doing Baba's work, he is compelled to give out this particular message. I had to give you a message yesterday because you expected one. That was my dear children. We all know that. And the theme of the message was on your being my children. Because despite much talk about the Baba family, there is more a semblance. This means semblance would mean appearance, a dikhawa, a show, a hypocrisy. More a semblance than a reality of kinship. Kinship, connectedness, oneness among you who are the children of one Father. Then Baba goes on to say, you read this, no? The children, yeah. The children of one Father do not greet one another with smiles and embraces as we all do. Jai Baba, and we do embrace, embrace. And at the same time, harbor grudges. Grudges means resentment. You are resenting somebody, but on the face of it, you are smiling and you are showing Jai Baba, and hugging and embracing each other. At the same time, harbor grudges and ill feeling, but they have an active concern for the well-being. Sorry, they have an active concern in their hearts for the well-being of one another and make sacrifices for that well-being. That means if you really want to be like one family, like family whose father is Meher Baba, then in our hearts we must have active concern for the well-being of the other, and we must work and make sacrifices in order to pursue that concern.
If you make me your real father, all differences and contentions between you and all personal problems in connection with your lives will become dissolved in the ocean of my love. You are all keen on spreading my message of love and truth, and many of you in the East and West have labored hard in this work, publishing magazines and other literature, organizing meetings, sacrificing your vacations in traveling, building halls, and having statues made of me. But I wonder how much of my love and truth has been in your work of spreading my message of love and truth.
So here Baba says, if you make me your real father would mean in my interpretation, totally depending upon him. Not running here and there to some other father, to your neighbor's father, your friend's father, to give you the lollipop. Your father, who is the father of all fathers, the king of kings, the highest of the high, knows exactly whom to give, what to give, when to give, where to give, how much to give. He knows. So we have to make him our real father. Baba says, if you make me your real father, all differences and contention between you, we all have differences. And in some other discourse, Baba said that it is in a way good to have healthy differences. Healthy differences show a certain amount of vibrancy in what you are doing for Baba. But those differences should not lead to conflicts, to contentions, and to ill feeling and all kinds of other, misunderstanding. Yeah, that should not be. So Baba says that if you make me your real father, all differences and contentions would mean conflicts between you and all personal problems in connection with your lives will become dissolved in the ocean of my love. Baba is using capital O for the ocean. In other words, anything that we are going through in life, we've already done this before many times. We are the cause and we are supposed to accept it and we are supposed to handle it with courage, with faith and all that. So if we make Meher Baba our real father, emphasis is on real father, capital F, then all these things, Baba says, then all your differences and contentions between you and all personal problems in connection with your lives will become dissolved in the ocean of my love. Once we love Baba above everyone and everything, then by default, automatically, spontaneously, other things do not affect us so much. They are there, but they won't be, like in Hindi we say Havi. They won't be, you know, uh, like uh, like ghost upon us all the time. They are there. There are problems, personal problems. So many are there. But then, if we love Baba honestly and sincerely above everything else, then these issues and problems automatically fall off. I remember, when I said fall off, I just remembered one incident where somebody had asked Eraj Jasawala. Now, as we all know, Eraj was a Zoroastrian Parsi, and amongst the Parsis, we wear what is known as Sadra Kasti, which is a garment, religious garment, which we put on. And obviously, the Mandli were not putting on. So, when somebody asked Eraj, "Okay, how is it that you, being a Parsi, you are not putting on the Sadra and the Kasti?" So, his one word answer was, Khari par you. Khariparyum in Gujarati would mean it has just fallen off. It could also mean that he did not have to make any specific effort in not wearing. It automatically relegated somewhere far behind when you are in front of the Lord Himself, when you are constantly in touch with and you are constantly serving Meher Baba, who is the Lord of all laws, then all these symbolic attachments to so many other things, they automatically and spontaneously fall off. You don't have to do anything specific. In the same way, Baba says that if you really made me your real father, then all these issues, problems in your life will get dissolved in the ocean of my love. It will automatically be relegated. You are all keen on spreading my message of love and truth. And many of you in the East and West, as we all know, this was an East-West gathering. So there was a both from both East as well as West, have labored hard in this work. You have really made a lot of effort in this work, publishing magazines and other literature, organizing meetings, like here we are organizing meeting, which is a Zoom meeting, organizing meetings, sacrificing your vacations in traveling. That means you're sacrificing your vacation and you are traveling to disseminate Meher Baba's message of love, truth, and oneness of all life. Building halls and having statues made of me. But I wonder how much of my love and truth has been in your work of spreading my message of love and truth. In other words, this I've been repeating quite often, what we do outside for spreading Baba's message of love and truth is not as important as what we allow Baba to work within us, to inculcate, within us his message of love and truth within us. That is more important. In other words, how much of permission, license, allowance we give to Baba to work within us, within our ego. There are differences, there are conflicts, there are so many things happening. Ego, blurting up, putting its head out and say, no, I said this, it has to be done in this way and not in that way, and all that. I know what I'm talking. What do you think? I have read more than you, and blah blah. So how Baba said, how much of my love and truth is there within you while you are spreading my work, my message of love and truth to the outside world.
Unless there is brotherly feeling in your hearts, all the words that you speak or print in my name are hollow. All the miles that you travel in my cause are zero. All our organizations for my work are but an appearance of activity. All buildings to contain me are empty places, and all statues that you make to embody me are of someone else. I have been patient and indulgent over the way you have been doing these things because you have been very young children in my love. And children must have some sort of games to play. But now you are older and are beginning to realize that there is a greater work ahead of you than what you have been doing. And you have been searching your minds and hearts as to what this work might be.
I consider this first paragraph as a real beating, a real harsh beating, but given very softly, buttered and given. Here Baba says, unless there is a brotherly feeling in your hearts. That means whenever we work for Baba, and I said, perhaps not necessarily circumscribed for Baba's work, but anywhere else and everywhere else, wherever we are together and working for any good cause, these principles, if we apply, then I feel that it is Baba's work and that Baba would be pleased. Unless there is a brotherly feeling in your hearts, all the words that you speak, all the words that you speak or print in my name are hollow. We call it pokal. That means no matter what you speak, no matter what you print, no matter what literature you brought out, they are hollow. Unless it has been brought out under a certain set of circumstances, which means here Baba says there has to be a brotherly feeling. Unless there is a brotherly feeling, it has no meaning. So Baba does not give importance to the so-called, you can say, hard copy, to what is given out into the world, but what is happening within us, that Baba gives more importance to. Unless there is a brotherly feeling in your hearts, all the words that you speak or print in my name are hollow. And this has been spoken over the public address by system, by Darwin Shaw in English, And you can imagine thousands of people sitting here, and Baba is actually admonishing all of them. All the miles that you travel in my cause are zero. Going from place to place, giving talks, giving lectures, showing films, and doing whatever we are doing, irrespective of how much you traveled, it is zero. All the miles that you travel in my cause are zero. All organizations for my work are but an appearance of activity. It is just a show, a dikhava, a semblance, a hypocrisy. It has no real value. All the organizations that you have established, it is only an appearance of activity. Some activity is happening in which Baba is not there. Because the feeling of love, the feeling of brotherhood, the feeling of harmony, the feeling of tolerance, the feeling of forbearance, the feeling of giving in, brotherliness is not there. Baba says this is just an appearance of activity. All buildings to contain me. There are centers, there are halls, there are all kinds of buildings to contain me are empty places. All buildings that are made in the name of Meher Baba, if all these things are not there, what Baba is telling, then they are nothing but empty places. And all statues that you make to embody me are of someone else. That means we are hell bent upon making statues in order to embody God. The embodiment has to be within our hearts. This is an external symbolic embodiment. And that too, Baba says, if there is no love, it is of somebody else. It is not mine. I remember, I don't know whether it was in Khammam or there are many many Baba's statues. There is there in Dehradun, is there in Khammam, is there in Nauranga, is there in where else? Many places. Ichora, yes, Ichora. Many places, Hamirpur, many places are having Baba statues. And in one of the messages which Baba says, which has touched me, is that he doesn't call it a mandir or so. He says, although you, words to the effect, mind you, paraphrasing, although you have built this house of stone in my name, although you have built this house of stone in my name, I am in it only when your heart brings me in it. In other words, he is not giving importance to the centers, to the organizations, to the statues, to the printing, to the talking, everything. Unless there is Baba in our heart, all these things have no meaning. So here Baba says, and all the statues that you made to embody me are of someone else. I have been patient. That's what I was saying. That imagine Baba speaking this at almost the fag end of his ministry on earth. 1969, he dropped the body. 1962, November, he's saying 6 years and about 2 months before he dropped the body. So, how much of patience he should be having to be finally giving out this message in such an auspicious occasion called the East West Gathering, such an important, prominent Savas program. Baba says, I have been patient and indulgent over the way you have been doing these things because you have been very young children in my love. Now, your Baba is giving us this leeway, this deal, as we say, he has been very, very sharp in the previous paragraph. But Baba says, I have been patient because you were still children, you were still growing up. But now you have grown up. Now, at least you must learn how to do my work, something like that. I have been patient and indulgent over the way you have been doing these things because you have been very young children in my love. And children must have some sort of games to play. Now, what are these games? Jealousy, envy, hatred, pride, egoism. When we come together, when 5 people, 10 people come together for doing Baba's work, all these things crop up. Why? Because we want to show that we are better off than the others. I am better in this. You are no good. You are no, and all that. So here this is the game that we have been playing around. But now you are older and are beginning to realize that there is a greater work ahead of you than what you have been doing. So here again, in terms of psychology, you can say Baba is saying that now you have grown up, now you have matured, now there is some sensibility in you, and you are also aware that there is a lot and lot of work ahead for you. So here he is now in a sense pampering that you see now you're grown up, now you've become big, and you have been searching your minds and hearts as to what this work might be. So Baba is saying, now you have grown up and you have been doing so many things for me. And yet I am telling you that this is not enough, something more. So now you are really searching, you are scratching your head, you are searching your mind and heart to find out what can that work be. We have given talks, we have done publication, we have established organizations, we have made halls, we have made centers, we have installed statues, we have done all that we were to do. But still Baba says that there is a greater work ahead of you. And what is that work that Baba is now telling us?
It is not a different work to what you have all been already doing. It is the same work, done in a different way. And that way is the way of effacement, which means the more you work for me, the less important you feel in yourself. You must always remember that I alone do my work. Although only the one who has become one with God can serve and work for all, I allow you to work for me so that you have the opportunity to use your talents and capacities selflessly and so draw closer to me. You should never think that in your work for me, you are benefiting others. For by being instrumental in bringing others to me, you are benefiting yourself.
Now, this is the key point. This is the heart of the message. If we can focus on this one paragraph, we will get what Baba wants us to do and what Baba is trying to convey. Here, Baba says, it is not a different work to what you have been already doing. The work is the same. It is the same work done in a different way. So, in other words, it is not what you are doing that matters or that is important, but how you are doing whatever you are doing that makes a world of difference whether we are doing Baba's work or we are not doing Baba's work at all and we are doing something. It is only an appearance of doingness or of activity. Whether we come within the slot of doing Baba's work or whether we are just doing something what we are doing, but you are not really doing Baba's work. So this is the paragraph. It is not a different work to what you have been already doing. It is the same work done in a different way. Now, what is this different way, Baba says? And that way is the way of effacement. Effacement means you efface your ego. You do not feel yourself important about whatever you are doing. You do not brag about it. You do not wait for acknowledgement about it. You do not seek reward about it. You do not want an applause. You do not want a standing ovation. You do not want anything. You are only here to please the Lord. That's all. So here, and that way is the way of effacement,
Wiping out.
wiping out our false ego, which means the more you work for me, the less, sorry, which means the more you work for me, the less important you feel in yourself. This is the key. The more you work for me, the less important you feel in yourself. In other words, you efface, you wear out your false ego. You must always remember that I alone do my work. If Baba is Baba, which means if Baba is omnipotent, that means all powerful, that means he can do anything he wants to do all by himself. Then why does he depend on us or why does he ask us to do his work, which Baba talks later on? So Baba says, you must always remember that I alone do my work. Although only the one who has become one with God can serve and work for all, I allow you to work for me so that you have the opportunity to use your talents and capacities selflessly and so draw closer to me. The word here important is selflessly. If we miss out on that, then the whole whole the whole issue is lost. The whole endeavor, the whole effort is totally lost. Baba says here that real service commences, begins only after God realization. That means only those who have become one with Baba can, in reality, in truth, serve others. Whatever we call as service can even be disservice. We may be thinking that we are serving, we may be thinking that we are helping somebody, but it could be more of a disservice to that person. It may be that we are making that person more and more lazy, more and more dependent upon our help or whatever it is. So it does not mean that you should not help. But the key word here Baba uses is selflessly. If you are doing, even if you are doing something ignorantly, which is harmful to the other person, but in my understanding, if you are doing it without an iota of selfishness, without what is in it for me, what am I going to benefit out of it? What is my payoff when I do this to me? Is somebody going to praise me in front of third person? Is somebody going to bless me? Is somebody going to talk about me that I have done such good work elsewhere? So if that is the payoff which I am expecting from the other, then that is not selflessly. So Baba says, you must always remember that I alone do my work. But yet he allows us to do his work. Why? Because he is giving us an opportunity to utilize and spend our capabilities, our capacities, our aptitudes, our whatever strength, talents in his cause selflessly, then we are drawn closer to him. So I suppose it's very, very clear. I'll repeat this sentence again. Although, sorry, you must always remember that I alone do my work. Although only the one who has become one with God can serve and work for all, I allow you. It is His grace, it is His mercy, it is His benevolence that He is allowing us to work for Him. There's a very nice sentence in English which goes something like this, that He does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. In other words, if we are fortunate enough to be called by Him to work for Him, then even though we may not be qualified to do that particular work, He will make us qualified. So that's what the sentence is. He does not call the qualified, but He qualifies the called. That means those who are called, He qualifies. I remember an instance where a very prominent ghazal singer was was there in Baba's fold in one of the programs, and Baba asked him to sing. And during his singing the voice was very good, absolutely good. The people enjoyed, but somehow or the other, Baba did not enjoy because. And then there was again somebody else who had, we call it Besura, who had no voice, who had no rhythm, no sur, no tal, no nothing. And he was singing, and Baba would say, very nice, very nice, very nice. And including the women mandali, and I remember an incident where Baba's mother, passed on a remark, "Swam thom to em karya kare." What are you doing like this? He doesn't have a voice at all. Am thom to em karya kare karine. And the moment Baba would do this, that singer would sing all the more, one more, like that. After the program was over, Baba clarified that the person who sang with a very, very beautiful voice did not sing with his heart. His heart was somewhere else. Yeah, yeah. His attention was in the craft, and not necessarily. I I have this feeling that he was expecting some kind of a reward from Baba. That means there was an expectation. Whereas the other one, who has no voice at all, was throwing out purity of the voice was coming out from that person's throat, you can say. And Baba enjoyed that. So, in other words, he does not call the qualified, which was the first one, but he qualifies the call. Qualifies means he has his heart was touched. Baba's heart was touched. I remember another instance in our center. We had made proper plans to invite Murshida Corners to welcome Murshida Corners, who is the present Murshida of the Sufism reoriented. So everything was arranged that this person would start the singing, and in a very sonorous voice, and just to make her feel nice about it. And somehow is really somehow, somebody who had no voice took on the harmonium and started playing as she entered the hall, the Meher Baba Bombay Center, the Meher Hall. And Soumya and I both exchanged glances like, my God, how horrible, like this. And she came in, who Murshida sat down on the chair. And the first thing when she was asked to address was saying that as soon as I entered the hall, what a surge of love I could feel. The singer, we don't want to name her, sang so beautifully. That was a lesson for both of us, that never to judge or evaluate based on the superfluous aspect of one's self. We were judging on the basis of the voice, the sound quality, which was by no means soothing. It was by no means soothing. And we had arranged it that somebody else would sing, but somehow she started singing. But when Murshida started talking, she was all praise for this lady and the outpouring of the love. So what I'm trying to say is, so many times we are so proved so drastically wrong time and time again, that we evaluate and judge and we realize that how wrong we could be. Coming back to the reading again, Baba says that I allow you to work for me so that you have the opportunity to use your talents and capacities. Again, the important word, selflessly, and so draw closer to me. He draws us closer to Him if we do all these things, if we utilize our capacity in His work. And I am sure each one of us has some capacity, some talent which can be used for Baba's work. Now, again, I repeat, Baba's work may not of course, if you are directly going to Meher Baba, fine, but may not necessarily mean Baba's work as in the Baba fold. You can do it, any selfless work for anybody, and that would be God's work, that would be Baba's work. I allow you to work, sorry, okay. You should never think that in your work for me, you are benefiting others. Many people take pride that so and so came to Baba because of me. I introduced him or her to Baba. And therefore, you cannot go directly to Baba. You have to come via me because I am the one who have introduced you to Baba. So never ever think that by doing Baba's work and in introducing, we are benefiting the other. No, Baba says you should never think that in your work for me you are benefiting others. For by being instrumental in bringing them to me, you are benefiting yourself. You are benefiting. That means if we bring somebody to Baba, if we do any work for Baba, we are benefiting ourselves and not others.
My work is your opportunity, but when you allow yourself to intervene between you and my work, you are allowing the work to take you away from me. When you put my work before yourself, the work will go right, although not necessarily smoothly. And when the work does not go right, it means you have put yourself between it and its accomplishment. The way of my work is the way of effacement, which is the way of strength, not of weakness. And through it, you become mature in my love. At this stage, you cannot know what real love is, but through working for me as you should work for me, you will arrive at that ripeness where, in a moment, I can give you that which you have been seeking for millions of years.
All right. One more very beautiful sentence. My work is your opportunity. If if we stumble upon in any field, in any way, Baba's work, then it is our opportunity. We must take it because thereby we are sharpening our talents, our capacities, our aptitudes in doing something selflessly for Baba. My work is your opportunity. Now, this is extremely important. I always say it in a different sing song manner. But when you allow yourself, that means the ego, but when you allow yourself to intervene, to come in between you and my work, then, sorry, not then, and my work, you are allowing the work to take you away from me. Just imagine if I am doing any Baba work, and if my ego comes in between, then that very work which I am supposed to be doing for Baba, in order to please Baba, in order to come closer to Baba, that very work will take me away from Baba. It's a very, very profound statement. So we have to be very careful, very alert, very mindful, very cautious, not to allow our ego to come in when we are working for Baba. Very important. Otherwise, as Baba says, that same work, Baba is saying, Baba's words are this: you are allowing the work to take you away from me. So profound, so deep it is that many of us may be doing Baba's work all the time, doing this, that, whatever. But if the ego props in, then I feel, oh wow, I've done such a great work for Baba. But actually, according to Baba, in the eyes of the truth or in the eyes of Baba, that work has taken me away from Baba and has not brought me closer to Baba. When you put my work before yourself, that means we give importance to the work and not to me, not to the ego. The work will go right, although not necessarily smoothly. We have seen it umpteen number of times that Baba's work many a times do not run smoothly. There are some, you know, potholes, hiccups, that is happening, and that is only, in my understanding, to allow us the opportunity to introspect, to go within, and try to rise above those pitfalls, above those stumbling blocks, above those potholes, you may say. So, in other words, Baba's work is going right, but it will not go smoothly. Not necessarily. It doesn't mean that all of Baba's work will have this kind of a range. No, sometimes it does go very smoothly. And when the work does not go right, here the work will go right, but not smoothly. But here the work is not at all going right. It means you have put yourself between it and its accomplishment. That means here your ego has come, and that is why the work is not going right. You read the whole thing? Yeah, you read the whole. Okay. Again, Baba is repeating the same refrain, so to speak. The way of my work is the way of effacement of false ego, tolerance, forgiveness, giving in. In all these attributes, we can always bring to the fore when we are working for Baba. Give in. When we work as a team, 10 people are working as a committee, there are bound to be different ideas. But that different ideas should not affect our heart for the other person. In other words, you may disagree on any issue. You may disagree on an issue, but that does not mean that you disagree with the person. That issue should not have a coloring, complete coloring of that person. Oh, he's always like this. He's nonsense. He's talking. He doesn't know. He's talking off his head. Blah, blah. So, in other words, we may have differences on issues, but that should not touch our heart, and our brotherly feeling, sisterly feeling with all the rest must be maintained. In other words, we may have to agree to disagree. In other words, we may have to give in our own thought processes or our own point of view. Baba always emphasized on democratic way of functioning whenever we are functioning for Baba. In our center also, we have 12 people as a board of trustees, and we do have differences. But at the end of the day, we are we actually treat each other as brothers and sisters, as one Baba family, and we enjoy a lovely sandwich or a bakra or some chai, which is very graciously brought by Hawavi most of the time. In other words, what I'm trying to say, we have differences, we have arguments, we discuss tooth and nail, but at the end of the day, it's all over. That principle one must have in every aspect of our life. You see, I'm digressing a little bit, but in Manzil-e-Meen, that was the first, you can say, training ground or ashram of Baba in the 1920s, 22, 23, at Bombay, Dadar, where they used to have a meeting called the Gutta meeting. Gutta basically means adda. Adda means a daruka adda, which means, what do you say? A tavern for drink, for people who are drunkards. That name is there. So all the people, there is a fixed time. All the people would come there and openly, without shame, openly tell whatever they feel in their heart about each other, the good, the bad, the ugly. Of course, there were certain norms, and one of the norms was that feeling has to be outpoured, vomited out in that room called the gutta. After that, that feeling should not be there in the heart. There should be brotherly feeling outside. So issues are handled, and outside you are brothers and sisters. Of course, there it was only brothers and brothers. There was no lady in the Manzil-e-Meen time. All right. And another important thing is that whatever is discussed in the gutta is a secret matter, sacred and secret, not to be discussed with anybody outside. So somebody may really, be very hard on somebody, and not to use harsh words. Harsh words are okay, but not to use swear words, what we call gala gali, and Baba would be like the judge, and then he would be dispensing justice. But most of the time, he would be, and all the time, I would say, he would be working on democratic principles, whatever happens. And the minutes were being written of all these meetings. So that much seriousness was there about those meetings. Coming back to our this, the way of my work is the way of effacement again and again, not having false ego pop up like this. I am doing it. I know what I'm doing. You don't know anything. You shut up. You sit down. Which is the way of strength, not of weakness. And through it, you become mature in my love. A matured person usually do not what should I say, uh, react. Sorry. A matured person does not react. He responds. He need not respond to each and every issue or situation. He just listens. He is not triggered by anything that anybody says from outside. Many people get triggered when somebody uses swear word against us, or when somebody says something derogatory about us. We get triggered. Why do we get triggered? We get triggered because we have no self-esteem. We get triggered because we have no self-love. We get triggered because we are we are walking into his or her trap. Why should we do this? Listen patiently, listen carefully, see whether there is any truth in the criticism or whatever the other person is throwing upon us. If there is some truth, fine, acknowledge, accept, modify your behavior, change, and transform. If there is no truth, just throw it in the dump. Don't even bother about it because there is no truth. How easy life becomes once we start responding to life's situation in this manner rather than being like a puppet and being triggered into reactivity all the time to our environment or surrounding. So here Baba says the way of work is the way of effacement, which is the way of strength, not of weakness. And through it, you become mature in my love. That is the meaning of maturity. Have you ever seen any mandli being triggered in Mehrabad or Mehrazad? They won't be triggered. They'll be sometimes very harsh, very forthright, like Padri or Bansari or Alovaji. They but even Airaj, but the Airaj would not be triggered like that. So they had that maturity of not playing into somebody else's words like that. At this stage, you cannot know. Oh, this is important. At this stage, you cannot know what real love is, capital L. And we have already done this before, that real love or divine love is a gift from God to man. You cannot manufacture, you cannot create within yourself. It is a gift rarely given because the recipient of the gift is like a fish flopping out of water. He has so much of love for his beloved Lord, so much of longing to become one with God that he is absolutely restless. So Baba says, at this stage, you cannot know what real love is, but through working for me. See, working for Baba has now become a pathway to Baba. Like how Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and all that, Hatha Yoga. So, this also working is a yoga, a path to reach Him. Baba says, but through working for me, as you should, means the way Baba has said, as you should work for me, you will arrive at that ripeness, paripakva, paripakvata rather. At that ripeness, you will become so ripe, like how a mango is so ripe that in an instant it will fall. It has become so ripe. So, Baba says, you will arrive at that ripeness where in a moment I can give you that, capital T, that which in my understanding would be mukti, moksha, liberation, salvation, or even God realization. I can give you that which you have been seeking for millions of years. Millions of years we have been seeking only one thing, whether consciously seeking or unconsciously seeking. Most of all, must be unconsciously seeking. But seeking is a must because that is how the pathway is. So Baba says that while working for me in the way you should work for me, you will reach at that ripeness where in a moment I can give you that, capital T, which you have been seeking for millions of years. Here we finish this very superb Baba's message, My Dear Workers, given on Saturday, the 3rd of November 1962 in the East West Gathering. And we hope and pray at Pune. Yes, Guru Prasad. Guru Prasad. And we hope and pray that Baba molds us, makes us, qualifies us to become real instrument in his hands to work for him. Jai Baba. Anybody
Baba.
has any, exactly 6:30. Anybody has anything to ask, say, share, most welcome. 6:30 sharp.
It's
Nobody.
it's so much overflowing with Baba that there is nothing for us to tell. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Baba. Thank you,
Thank
Baba.
you. Thank you.
Avtar Meher Baba.
Baba ki
Jai.
jai.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Thank you,
Baba.
Baba.